And this is why, like, when people criticize Odegaard, they just don't see football the same way I do.
But us Arsenal fans know how important he is. People that watch Arsenal week in, week out know how important and how class he can be on his day, how world class he can be on his day. I love it when Rice scores. For some reason, every time he scores, it's just so satisfying, you know what I mean? He just slots into the bottom right-hand corner.
And with Noni, he's really, really good 1v1. I think my question marks with Noni are what happens after that.
If Calafrio is out, why are we not utilising Lewis Skelly in those positions? We go on to the second half of the season. Happy New Year, Gooners. 3 points to start the year.
I genuinely, hand on heart, believe this. I believe that Mikel Arteta is the best coach in world football.
G'day Gooners, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast. I'm joined by George, and this is a great day to be an Arsenal fan, isn't it? I mean, yesterday we beat Bournemouth 3-2 away from home. That was our last opponent before the new cycle of the Premier League, 2026. Beautiful start to the year. But I think maybe even more importantly, just for the context of the league, City dropping points again, this time to Chelsea. Chelsea, our rivals, helping us out. A goal at the end, 1-1 at the Etihad. But I'm feeling great, George. How are you feeling?
Yeah, no, it's been a great weekend for us again. Obviously, the midweek games also went in our favour. So, yeah, brilliant. 3 points collected for the Gunners, which is great. Obviously, we'll dive into the performance and what we thought of the game in more depth later on in the pod. But in general context, it's been a great Christmas period so far. It's unbelievable. Like, I think as well, what's super important for us Arsenal fans is that we don't repeat the same mistakes that we have done over the last 3 years of coming second. And one of those mistakes was during the Christmas period and block of games. Obviously, the games come thick and fast. Us dropping a lot of points, especially to teams who we shouldn't drop points to, the West Hams, the Fulhams of previous years. But this year, it seems like we haven't made those mistakes, and we've come out the other side in a really good place. So now it's time for us to kick on and have the 2026 similar to the 2024 we had when we won 16, drew 1, lost 1. Obviously, we still didn't win the league that year. That's how good City were, but we're in a position now. Pardon me. Pardon me again. We're in a position now that if we do that, and if we replicate that sort of form now, we will win the league. So, yeah, really positive. Amazing that City dropped points again. We were actually, myself and Cal were going to record the podcast yesterday before that kickoff went, and I said, Cal, just hold off until the morning, because when we wake up, hopefully we'll see a result that's pleasantly surprised us. And of course, Chelsea managed to take some points off Manchester City, which is brilliant for us. I've got a lot of friends who are Chelsea who have been slagging us all off, us Arsenal fans off, for a very, very long time. So knowing that they have potentially helped us stretch our league at the top of the table to hopefully win our first Premier League in over 20 years it is a good thing from our side. What did you think of the game, Cal?
I think again, we've said it so many times this season, but it was a tale of two halves, wasn't it? And I think it's something that needs to be fixed. I know we're getting these wins, but it is a problem and it does need to be fixed. I think that's why we're so lucky, not lucky because we're playing well in the second half, but lucky in the sense that we are only playing well in the second half, if that makes sense. And I mean, in previous seasons, I've said it so many times, I feel like I keep repeating myself, but in previous seasons, we would drop points in the game like that. It could be 2-2 by the end of the game, 1-1, that sort of game. But I'm so glad that we're sitting here and talking about another 3 points for Arsenal. It's great, but I do think it needs to be addressed. But I wanted to ask, but I think as a whole, so it was a good game, obviously. Rice, 2 goals, brilliant. We'll get onto those later. But first half, I don't think wasn't good enough. And I know we need to be harsh, I think, because I know we're getting these wins, but we need to see these problems when they arise. And I just want to ask you how you thought we went in that first half and what went wrong.
It's a great question, and it definitely has been a theme over the last, couple of months that we're not coming out the blocks very quickly. But I think the reason that we didn't really start fast this time round was slightly different to other games. Honestly, like it was a mixture of the way that Bournemouth were pressing us. They were man-to-man pressing. They were really following every single man. And they were trying to trap us on that left-hand side. Obviously, they identified that left space as a space that they could really exploit. And we'll get onto the first goal. They absolutely did that. But also, I just think that the way that we were passing the ball was just not crisp enough. I'm not sure. You can't really blame external factors because obviously these guys are professional footballers earning a hell of a lot of money every single week. But I don't think the pitch was I think it was purposely designed not to be as slick as the Emirates would be, so that our efficiency when it came to trying to pass the ball quickly was stopped, and it seemed that way. It seemed that we weren't passing the ball crisply enough. It seemed that even when we were trying to, the passing was not accurate enough. And they just didn't look particularly up for the game, if I'm being totally honest with you, Cal. Like, they didn't look, if that was a North London derby, then the way that they would have all approached the game would be different to the way that they did. And Arsenal need to get into a rhythm whereby every single game until the end of the season is like a North London derby. And they have to take it that serious, because in the Premier League, it's different to, say, even the Champions League, where you're going to come up against opposition who aren't necessarily as strong and they don't have players who can kill you off. But in the Premier League, every team has players who are devastating. And so if you give them a sniff, they will take a mile. And it's been a theme with Arsenal this whole year, and honestly of years previous, that we will control a game of football. It didn't happen against Bournemouth, but in general, we'll control a game of football. We'll create loads of chances. We won't take our chances. The opposition will have one chance. They'll put the ball straight in the back of the net and they come away with a point. And you can't take that chance in the Premier League anymore. You just can't. Like when we were growing up and it was like the top four were so, I guess, separated from the rest of the league, we knew that we could sort of approach every game, especially the ones at home, against the teams who are, I guess, 10 and below. And we could have the handbrake on. We could be in first or second gear and we could still win 2 or 3-0. Now you cannot do that. You just can't. And so you can't approach a game at less than 100%. Otherwise, you will get exploited. And exploited is exactly what we got. It came from obviously an individual error. Gabriel made the error. It was after about 10 minutes. And if it, like, feel free to sort of talk more on that mistake and I guess mechanically what happened to get to that mistake. But from my standpoint, it was obviously really poor, but it was coming, to be honest with you. We looked poor. We didn't look on it, and we sort of deserved it. I think they needed a wake-up call, and that is exactly what they got.
No, yeah, I agree. Those moments are just going to happen. Like, that's just life. People are going to make silly mistakes sometimes. It's going to happen. There's going to be these moments. We can't be perfect. They're not robots. But yeah, it was actually kind of a good thing. I agree with you that we did concede that goal. It did give us a bit of a wake-up call, as you call it. Yeah, Gabriel, it just seemed to be, it was unusual, wasn't it? I thought it would be a sort of ball where he'd pass it back to Raya, but he kind of went across goal. And like, what do we learn when you're, I mean, I'm not a defender, but even I know, like, you don't pass across goal. Like, it's just rule number one. I didn't even know what he was trying to do. He was trying to get to Saliba. There was Evan Nilsson was in the way, and then obviously he went and finished it. Nothing Devereux could really do about it. Saliba couldn't get back in time. We went 1-0 down. It was unfortunate. I was pretty frustrated, obviously. When you see moments like that, it's like, what is he doing? You know what I mean? But it happens. It's football. But obviously 6 minutes later, Gabriel redeemed himself straight away. It feels like he's that sort of player where he can make absolute hell of a mistake and then just redeem himself, which is really good to see. Obviously, Madueke on the right. I want to know your thoughts on how you think he played, but he received the ball, beat his man, kind of shimmied around another one, and then kind of put a scrappy little ball in, kind of bobbled around a bit. Martinelli took the shot, deflected. Gabriel on the half volley, top bins. I mean, what a finish that was as well. There was like 5 players on the line, and yeah, he redeemed himself. But just before that goal, what did you think of Madueke's sort of run? It was crazy, right?
So yeah, 100%. There's a lot to break down. Obviously, the starting 11 was not as we expected. I thought there would be some sort of rotation, but for me, Bournemouth is always a tough place to go because the pitch is smaller. Obviously, we're used to a nice big pitch, and to me, if you're going to swap out the wingers, you need your wingers who are best in tight spaces or
Yep.
can beat a man 1v1 almost every time. So I thought the Madueke one was fair. On the other side, I personally would have gone with Eze if you're going to rest Trossard. I just
Yep.
don't think Martinelli really suits a small pitch. So that's the first thing. The second thing is speaking on Gabriel, and I guess him redeeming himself as you correctly said before. It takes a really big personality to lead a back line, especially a back line who are one of the best in Europe. And Gabriel is that for us. So when he was injured, it was a big miss. But Arteta spoke about it post game, and he said if you're going to be that big personality and that leader, when you make a mistake, which all humans and footballers do, you have to be the one who takes the responsibility. And the way he responded after that mistake, I think it's the most important thing about making mistakes, as we all do as humans, right? It's all about the way that you respond to one. And Gabriel really responded to that mistake in the best way possible. And you saw how up for it. I remember we got a corner almost just before the goal, and he was the one who was sort of like him and Rice were having verbals, and they were getting around it, and they were really like sort of showing the leadership. They were showing the reaction, and him being in that area and just the way he struck the ball was just class. And he redeemed himself in less than 10 minutes, which is exactly what you want to see. He really got us in the mud by what he did at the other end 10 minutes prior. But yeah, the way he redeemed himself was class. And with Noni, he's really, really good 1v1. I think my question marks with Noni are what happens after that. He had actually a 1v1 situation, I think a few minutes before, where he got the ball on the right-hand side, beat a few men. He actually fainted and didn't take the shot when I thought he would have. But when he did take the shot, he actually gave himself more time to just place that one in the corner. He could have even reversed it into the near post. I know Saka's done that a few times, but his ball striking needs work. It does need work, and that end product is super important for teams who are playing at the highest level. And that's where I think with Noni you're going to get the most frustration from a fan perspective, and probably from a coaching perspective as well, is that final action. But for the goal, it was brilliant. His first touch sort of set the rest of it up. He sort of took the ball past Semenyo and put his body in between the ball and Semenyo. So Semenyo had a choice: either let him go or take him out and concede a penalty. So he then was able to sort of shimmy again near the byline, and similar to what Samir Nasri used to do when he used to play for us. I know he did that loads of times. And say what you want about Samir Nasri, we hate him, but he was a top player. So really, really good from Madueke. Obviously, the ball ricocheted and came to Gabriel. Gabriel finished. And yeah, we're back in the game 1-1, and we sort of reset and we go again.
Yeah, I mean, after that goal, it was good to get that goal so early after conceding as well. That's my favorite thing. After we concede, you need to respond quickly. That's the most important thing, because the longer it goes on, especially against these no disrespect to Bournemouth, but against these lowest teams in the table, they get more confidence and they think, oh, hang on, we can get something out of this game. Obviously, they scored later on. We'll get on to that. But for the rest of the first half, I don't think we really raised, the intensity did go up, but it wasn't as much as I think it needed to be. But it was really the second half when we did see the boys come out and finally playing some proper football. 54th minute, just 10 minutes after the break, Odegaard lays off to Rice in that O zone. Obviously, that's Odegaard's zone. Rice finishes it, bottom right-hand corner. It's a few times I've seen him do that finish. It's becoming a bit of a trademark finish for Rice. I think it was a great goal, great finish for Rice as well. I love it when Rice scores. For some reason, every time he scores, it's just so satisfying. You know what I mean? He just slots into the bottom right-hand corner. When we got that goal, I was so happy because I thought, great goal for Rice. Back into this game, we're looking better as well. But obviously, we need to get the third goal. What did you think of that Odegaard performance? Because I think, again, assist, and then obviously that ball to Saka, which we'll get on later for the third goal. But he was brilliant, wasn't he?
Well, listen, in the last two performances, he has been the best player, or one of the best players on the pitch, no doubt about it. I actually thought, especially in the first half, he had a quiet first half. I thought he was taking too long on the ball. I think with Odegaard, he's really trying to find that killer ball. So either he takes quite a few touches, sometimes too many, just because he's always looking and scanning the pitch. And other times he really does try that difficult pass, and sometimes it doesn't work out. So it looks pretty poor. And I think that first half performance sort of was similar to that. Second half was a different story. He was able to connect more. He was able to play slightly quicker. I think with Arsenal, a lot of what I see is teams who, again, obviously Bournemouth were going man to man, but at some points they were in a deeper block. And when they're in that deep block, what we really struggle with, compared to a Man City, is having central players who want to receive the ball in between the lines and then create chances. And what we do is we tend to fire the ball into wide areas and try and get our wingers beating fullbacks 1v1 and creating situations from crossing opportunities. Whereas when I look at City, they have Bernardo, Cherki, Foden, and the list goes on of players who want to receive the ball in those areas, and they do.
Half spaces,
those half spaces. And when our number 6 has the ball or number 8 has the ball and they're looking up, that's what they see in front of them when it comes to Manchester City. Whereas with us, we see, I don't know, Gyökeres on the last line and then 2 wingers who are really, really high and really, really wide. And the players who actually receive the ball in those half spaces are usually our fullbacks. And when Hincapié is playing as a left fullback compared to Calafiori, you just don't have that quality in that tight area. So I think that was probably Odegaard's frustration during the first half. Second half was slightly different, obviously. I think for the goal, particularly, you got to give credit to Martinelli, who won the original header. And then Gyökeres for his strength just to hold off the Bournemouth defender. And then when the ball comes to Odegaard in that area, 99%, and this is why, when people criticize Odegaard, they just don't see football the same way I do. I'm not necessarily saying it's right or wrong, but 99% of footballers would have taken a shot there or would have tried to play a pass forward. But the composure that he had and I guess the awareness around him to hear the shout from Rice and then the weight of pass, that is not easy. I know it's a 10-yard pass, so it seems easy, but I promise you it's not easy. That weight of pass with the outside of his foot to time it so that when Rice steps onto the ball, he can take it first time and almost use the pace of the pass to direct the shot, which is what he did, is so difficult. So credit to Odegaard because, he's getting numbers on the board now. And I think that's, again, another criticism that people who don't particularly like what Odegaard's done over the last 16 to 18 months, they've really had a big criticism or a big complaint with Odegaard that he's not getting assists and goals. Now he's starting to do that. Even when he's not playing particularly well, he's getting numbers on the board, which is totally important. And the finish from Rice, class. It reminded me of Tony Cruz. It was just he uses the pace of the ball. He just placed it perfectly. His ball striking, we all know, is really, really good. So he needs to be doing that more. Yeah. There's no reason why he shouldn't be doing that more. And we go 2-1 up. And at that point, I'm just thinking, all right, now that we're here, we need to get the third. I know in previous weeks you've said getting the second is so important. When we're 2-1 up, we need to get the third. And that's what we did minutes later.
Yeah, it was so class to get that third goal. Obviously, Rice again. Just before we get onto that, though, you're talking about Hincapié. I think it's a really important point we need to bring up because I've been calling out for Lewis Skelly to start this game. We're having problems in finding gaps in those half spaces to create chances. Obviously, you mentioned that Calafiori is better in those sort of technical position, more technical player than Hincapié, can play those passes in more attacking areas. But for me, if Calafiori is out, why are we not utilizing Lewis Skelly in those positions? He's a natural midfielder. He came through the academy as a midfielder. I just don't see if that's been our problem recently, especially on that left-hand side in half spaces to create chances and give us options in the middle. Why is Lewis Skelly not in those positions to help us? I'm not sure if it's, maybe you can help me out on this. I'm not sure if it's a tactical thing, if you want some more solid play. Obviously, Hincapié is a very different build to Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly is more of a smaller player, a bit more technical, and Hincapié is a bit more of a brute, aggressive sort of player. I'm baffled, to be honest. I don't know why Lewis Skelly's not playing.
I think, again, really, really good question. There's, again, quite a lot to unpack here. My opinion would be it's definitely from a tactical, structural point of view as to the reason he's going with Hincapié. If you see it like this, we always usually build up in a back three, whether it's Raya plus the 2 centre-backs, whether it's Timber, Gabriel Saliba, or whether it's Calafiori, Saliba, Gabriel. Sorry. Calafiori, Gabriel Saliba, or Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, or two centre backs plus keeper. Sometimes Zubimendi and Rice drop in as well to make that number three. To me, the way that, or the reason that Hincapié is getting picked over Lewis Skelly is because in that build-up phase, he is much more likely to be comfortable in a left centre-back position than a Lewis Skelly is. So when that, we want to be less predictable than we were last year. Now, last year, it was very, very obvious that we're going to funnel things through that right-hand side. And even if years previous. Now, in years previous, when Zinchenko, for example, is played in that left-back position, sometimes the game needs for Zinchenko to play as a left centre back. Obviously, Granit Xhaka used to do that from left centre mid, and then Zinchenko would go into midfield and they would sort of rotate that way. But now I don't think that Arteta wants to take the chance of, say, us breaking down in possession in that first phase or that second phase, and then us to be sort of I don't know what the word is I'm looking for, but they're subject to vulnerability on the counter attack. Because I remember many times the ball just gets played over Zinchenko's head into Salah, and then his 1v1 with Zinchenko, and we know who's winning that battle every time. And I think he's probably got the same mindset when it comes to Lewis Skelly, because number one, he's young. Number two, he's not necessarily a natural defender. Yep. And so I think he's just trying to play with that idea of nullifying any sort of danger. Now, listen, in some games, especially the ones we're at home to lesser opposition, I think you can afford to play a Lewis Skelly because we have the ball at 95% of the game. But when you're away, especially at a team like Bournemouth who are going man for man, you are much more likely to lose the ball in certain situations and then be exposed to a counter attack. So for me, that's the reason why he's going with Hincapié at the moment. Hincapié as well is much more naturally gifted when it comes to playing as a traditional wing, like a wing back. He's a better crosser than Lewis Skelly. So that to me is the reason why he's doing it. Do I think it's necessarily right? Not always. And I think in game as well, like sometimes when things aren't going your way, you can make those switches. And I don't know what you think about this, Cal, but I always look at pairs. And obviously when it comes to the left-hand side, the pair on this day was Hincapié and Martinelli. Martinelli, in my opinion, is better, actually more central, but he tends to drift further out wide to the left. And the problem that we have with that is then we need our fullback to play as a more inverted fullback, because you don't want both your winger and your fullback on the same line, essentially. So if he was going to go with Martinelli, I probably would have gone with Miles, just like you said, but he didn't. And I think that's where we were starting to get to have issues, especially when it came to our attacking play and our set plays and everything that goes with it. It wasn't very fluid at all, and yeah, definitely something to consider for the future. I think that when Trossard plays, then Hincapié suits that role far more.
Yep, or even like an Eze plays in that position. You were mentioning that it was a smaller pitch. It's not really a game suited for Martinelli. I think that was just more of a rotation thing, and it seems like at the moment Arteta isn't really trusting Eze on the wing. I'm not sure why. I think Eze's quality. I mean, even if left wing isn't his best position, he should still get a chance out there, especially over Martinelli. I think we saved Martinelli for Champions League games against big teams like that. Obviously, Martinelli, I think, will have a big role to play in the Liverpool game as a sub or as a starter. I think Trossard will be back, but as a sub, yeah. But yeah, I think it's a good problem to have. I completely agree with you. I think the combination of Hincapié and Martinelli playing together doesn't really suit one another. But yeah, it's a good problem to have. I mean, we're trying these combinations. I think it's always handy to build these combinations because I want to go into a game where no matter who we pick at left back or left wing, I'm confident that they're going to complement each other in some sort of way. So I think, and look, Hincapié is new to the club as well. He's still finding his way. He hasn't played particularly too many games. Obviously, he had that period where he was coming in at centre back, but playing as a left back, he hasn't played too many games. So to be honest, I'm not too worried. I'm actually excited to see how it's going to go. I want to see him play with Eze on that left wing with him. So I'm excited to see that. But yeah, onto the third goal. Obviously, it was pretty similar to the second goals in terms of the finish. But you mentioned before about Odegaard. When people see him, they don't really rate him from the last 12 to 18 months or whatever it's been. Obviously, not getting much GA, but that's the thing about him recently. Like, it's so harsh in football. You can play a beautiful ball like that through to Saka. Obviously, it was a diagonal sort of ball, a sort of Ben White-esque through ball, if you like, through to Saka. Saka cuts it back to Declan Rice and beautiful finish. But yeah, Odegaard, I mean, those are some of my favorite type of through balls, man. Like those diagonal ones. It's just so creative, and it's a shame he doesn't get anything on paper. But I think that's the great thing about Odegaard. Like he's leading this team, and even when he's not getting anything on paper, us Arsenal fans know how important he is. People that watch Arsenal week in, week out know how important and how class he can be on his day, how world class he can be on his day. And yeah, we get the third goal. Beautiful, beautiful celebration from Rice as well, I must say. Kissing the camera. Love to see that. But yeah, it was a beautiful goal, and I was confident when we got that third goal that we'd go on to win the game, to be honest.
Yeah, 100%. And something that we haven't been able to do in the past is and I know the commentator actually referenced it, but God, how unfortunate must that left back be to for 60 minutes deal with Noni Madueke running at you, and then for the last half an hour have Saka to come on and just know that you're going to be in a proper game for the rest of the game. But yeah, we brought on Trossard and Saka after about 60 minutes. I think Jesus came on as well. Yeah, beautiful pass. The weight of pass, again, it's not an easy pass to make through the lines. Really, really good. Saka, obviously running off the ball, something that maybe Noni probably has to work at, but really, really well weighted pass. Great through ball. Saka gets on the end of it, and his head's up. He can see exactly where Rice is. Rice has his hands up, waiting for the ball. Ball travels to Rice, and Rice does the rest. And yeah, really, really good finish. We go 3-1 up, and I guess we should probably touch more on Declan Rice and the conversations around him. Obviously, Arteta came out after the game and he was asked, like, is he one of the best midfielders in the world? Arteta resoundingly said absolutely yes. Declan Rice is getting to a point now where he is absolutely world class, and there's no doubt about it, in my opinion. He's world class. He's not just a world class number 6. He's also now a world class number 8. And this year, particularly, he has just stepped up his game again. We bought him for 105 million. 105 million British pounds. And it feels like out of all the transfers that have happened in human history that have been above 100 million pounds for one singular player, Declan Rice is the one that you can really say has been worth every single penny. If not, we have got him for a cut price. Whether it's his free kicks, whether it's his corners, whether it's his ability to run games via a deep position in midfield, he's driving through the midfield, his leadership quality. He really is a catalyst for me for this Arsenal team, along with Martin Odegaard. I mean, different qualities as footballers, different qualities as leaders. But for me, Declan Rice is world class. And when we go and win this Premier League, I'm going to put it out there, when we do, because we will this season, he will go down as one of the big performers and the big personalities that have driven us there. So fair play to him, and long may it continue.
Yeah, I think Rice, he just brings so much to this team in every single aspect of his game. You mentioned all those, but you even forgot some. Obviously, leadership, the goals he's popping up with as well. I don't know if you knew, but he's scored more goals for us than at West Ham. He's played, I think, half the games, which is just incredible to see. I think goals and assists, that is. But he's just, yeah, he is world class. Completely agree with you. And if we do win this Premier League, when we win this Premier League, I should say, he will be on the Mount Rushmore for this season. I think I mentioned this Mount Rushmore. I think it's a thing we should do at the end of the season. That'll be a fun little thing to do. But yeah, we obviously 3-1 at that point, cruising a bit, defending, and then Bournemouth just score a worldie, really against the run of play. I think, who was it? Eli Krupi, something like that. To be honest, I haven't heard of him before, but I mean, credit to him. What a hit that was. If I'm being super harsh, I think Raya, I don't know if you saw it, he did hesitate to the left slightly, I
Yeah.
think if he didn't do that little half step, he would have actually reached the ball. But I mean, you can't be too harsh on Ray there. Beautiful strike, 3-2, and it was a squeaky bum time at the end, wasn't it? I mean, I was getting a little bit scared, but 3-2, held on in the end. What did you think of that strike? I got to hear your
Yeah,
thoughts on that.
I mean, top strike. I
Class.
mean, definitely question to our listeners who happen to be goalkeepers or have worked with goalkeepers
Yeah, yeah,
previously. Uh, I know there's so much analysis that happens throughout football games from ex-footballers, from fans who only
and us, of
understand,
course, and us, of
and
course.
us, of course, yeah, who only play outfield, right? But I think there's a lack of goalkeeping analysis, and
Yep.
it's very, very easy for us to say that
Yeah, of
Raya should have
course.
done better in that position. But I'd really like to hear from goalkeepers. What do they think? What could he have done there? Did he hesitate? Was it his starting position? Was it his, I guess, just having men in front of him that he couldn't really see and he reacted late? Should he have predicted where that ball was going to go? I don't know. If you're listening and you're a goalkeeper, leave your comments down below. Let us know what you think, and we'll address them in the next podcast. Thank you very much. But yeah, in terms of the strike, yeah, he couldn't really have hit that much better. He only came on minutes before,
Yeah, he
so
did.
fair
Yeah,
play to him. But again, we were passive. Like we didn't when you have your foot on the neck, you've got to press down, and you got to be so I don't know what the word is. You've got to be so intense with the way that you play after that to get the fourth, to get the fifth, to
yeah.
really
Ruthless,
kill off the
ruthless.
game. Ruthless. Yeah, exactly that. And against Villa, we were,
Yep.
but in this game, we weren't. And when you're not, as I've said, against a team in the Premier League, you're always at risk. You're always
Yep.
at risk, and the strike came from outside the box. It was a great strike, and then the rest of the game we were playing, as you said, squeaky bum time. You had to sit in a low block. You had to be very, very compact, and I was getting nervous, and especially when Semenyo had that throwing in the
Yeah.
94th minute, I was like, oh, just not now, just not now. And then when the ref blew the whistle,
I don't think he should
I
have blew
sat
that. To be
back.
honest, that was
Yeah,
you said. I think Bournemouth got done over there. To be honest, I mean, you're always going to get done over by refs. It's going to even out, obviously, but I do feel bad for Bournemouth. I know as an Arsenal fan, if that was us, I would be absolutely livid. The ref blowing the whistle there. Semenyo's about to put a cross in. So many players in the box. I think the goalkeeper was in the box as well. Anything can happen. Anything can bobble around. So we did get away with one there. But then again, you could say that Semenyo should have been sent off. So I mean, there's just no point talking about refs really. It's always just going to even out in some sort of way. But held on in the end. Big 3 points away from home. Obviously now that's our first. We've played everyone now. We played Villa twice as well. We go on to the second half of the season. Happy New Year, Gooners. 3 points to start off the year. It's class. Let's win every single game in 2026. It's going to be a great year. World Cup as well. It's going to be class. But yeah, now we sit top of the table on 48 points, with City dropping points today to Chelsea. They're on 42. So we're 6 points ahead, and the same goal difference as well, actually, which I think is important because City, I think they did have a much better goal difference than us prior to the Villa game. And then obviously 3 goals there, that really helps that. I think goal difference is super important, super underrated as well. You never know when it can come into play. So glad we got those goals. But yeah, I think just mentioning before about the intensity, we kind of dropped off a little bit. I think that's been our biggest problem. I mentioned it in the first half. It's been a sort of problem, but it's not just in the first half as well. It's when we're sort of cruising in the games and we kind of put the foot off. We need to be ruthless. We've seen what Man City teams have done in the past. They put 4 or 5 goals past these teams and get the job done in the end. So I think that's something we need to work on. I mean, I'd love to see it against Liverpool. Obviously, Liverpool aren't too great at the moment, but are probably a better team than Bournemouth. They always seem to turn up against us. It's always a great game. We'll get into that later. But yeah, sitting at the top of the table, can't complain.
100%, 100%. And it obviously we can do all this analysis and we can foresee the future, but sorry, we can't actually foresee the future. We would like to be able to think that we can, but we can't. And it's a great 3 points, and in context of the rest of the season, could come down as probably the crucial 3 points that we got. You know, as I said many times in years previous, we haven't been able to win at these places. So
I
going
mean,
to
we
Bournemouth,
lost to Bournemouth last season, didn't we? So
100%,
That, yeah.
100%. I think we dropped 4 points against Bournemouth last season. I think we got a draw
I
and
think
a
so.
loss.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, really, really good. And it would have been a nice thing for City fans. I'm sure Pep Guardiola was in deep communications with Semenyo prior to the game, asking him to really turn up for us, but he couldn't, which is good for us. He's going to go to Man City probably in the next couple of days, which is good for them, not so good for the rest of the league. But yeah, I mean, I've come to the conclusion now, Cal, and call me controversial. I genuinely, hand on heart, believe this. I believe that Mikel Arteta is the best coach in world football.
I agree.
And
I mean,
and the reason that I think that is obviously over the last 6 years, he's had a lot to deal with. Whether it's I don't know, the Aubameyang situation, Mesut Ozil. He's had
yeah.
contracts that he's had to rip up, and really, really difficult situations, rebuilding pretty much a whole fan base as well as a squad. And obviously, the only two players that survived are Saka and Martinelli from his original squad. But there were like 9 players who we had to just rip up their contracts, who were on crazy money, over 150. Kolasinac, 190 grand. Mkhitaryan, Bellerin. Nicolas Pepe, obviously. And he's really rebuilt this football club to a point now where the rest of the world really, really look at us as a serious threat. And we were literally a banter club for many, many years. Obviously, time will tell whether he can actually get us over the line. I, from the bottom of my heart, truly believe that he will and he can. And when that happens, it's weird because it'll be like a flick of a switch. The rest of the world will start, and the rival fans will be like, okay, Mikel Arteta's serious now.
Yeah.
But to me, he's already done the body of work to get us to a position where he deserves to be called that, especially when you're rivaling Pep Guardiola, who is obviously the best coach almost ever, right? And Jurgen Klopp. And they were like 6, 7, 8 years ahead of us in terms of how the distance between the two squads and the two clubs. So for Arteta to really close that gap within 5, 6 years is incredible. And I really, really hope for his sake, he deserves it to get across the line.
No, yeah, I completely agree. I think if Arteta, I think this is the last step for him. He always goes on about phases and things like that, which I love, to be honest. I think that's the best way to look at things, go through the phases. It might have taken a little bit longer than us Arsenal fans would have liked, but in the end, we're gonna get it. We're gonna get it done, hopefully. Touch wood. But yeah, I think Arteta, this is his chance to really get respect from a lot of other fans. And to be honest, I don't think we should worry about other fans, to be honest, because it's our club. Like, yes, it's great to be able to in those arguments and be able to flex that, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter. We know how good Arteta is. We know that how much he's done for this club. I mean, just looking from 2020 to now, incredible. So all respect to him. His name will definitely go down in the history books if he gets it done. But yeah, onto the Liverpool game. I believe it is on Friday, a weird sort of time. Not really usually Premier League games on the Friday, a bit of a weird period at the moment. But or Friday fast, I should say, Thursday night in England, 7 a.m. Pretty good kickoff time. Can't complain with that. Liverpool, obviously today they drew 2-2 with Fulham, and there's actually a funny thing about this game as well, because I woke up this morning and I went onto Instagram, as you do, doom scrolling in the morning, bad habits, but went on there and I saw a post about, who was it? Who scored Liverpool's second goal? Was it Ekitike, I believe, right? He took his shirt off? Gakpo, sorry,
yes.
Gakpo. It was Gakpo, yeah. Took his shirt off and I saw it was 2-1. I was like, and I saw the caption was something like, Liverpool score at the end in all capitals or something like that. And I was like, right, they've won 2-1. And then it wasn't until my friend messaged me and he's like, bro, look at this goal that Fulham scored. Shout out to Lockie, by the way. He showed me that clip and I was like, what a banger that was. Wow. Fulham 2-2. And I was like, oh my God, they dropped points. Like, good for us. Bad form heading into our game. They let us slip at the end. But yeah, that just made me more confident. I mean, what a hit that was. Did you manage to catch that goal?
I haven't actually caught back the highlights yet, but I will definitely be sure to do it prior to our game against Liverpool, which is, by the way, a massive game at the Emirates. Huge.
So excited. Liverpool, when they come to the Emirates, it's always such a good game. The first game that I think of was, I think it was the 22-23 season. I know we always talk about that season, but I think it was, we won 3-2. There was a Saka penalty, Martinelli goal to start from that beautiful Odegaard pass. It's always just seems to be end-to-end chaos, which is good viewing experience, but it's always so stressful. So I hope it's not as stressful this time. But how do you see this game going?
Well, listen, you got to think about the reverse fixture. Obviously, it was pretty tight at Anfield, and a beautiful free kick. You can't take it away from Dominic Szoboszlai. Gave Liverpool the 3 points on that day. So, listen, Arsenal have a point to prove. We need to go and get the 3 points at home at least. Um, they're going to be really, really wanting it, Liverpool. Haven't been at their best this season. It's very, very safe to say. I'm going to just try and get up their last 5 results.
Yeah, I was going to say because since they beat us at Anfield, a lot has happened. It's a completely different landscape to when they beat us. I think that was 5 on the trot for them when they. I think the game against us was their last sort of one before it kind of went downhill. Yeah, I think they're fourth at the moment with 34 points. So there's a gap between fourth and third of 8 points. So they want to be able to close that gap. I think it's a big game for them, especially for. I mean, I think the title hopes for them are probably gone, but at least Champions League football, it could be a bit competitive. So they're going to be well up for it. I think they're going to come at us, but I think that actually does benefit us, to be honest. We usually benefit from when teams come at us. I know Bournemouth sort of pressed us, but Liverpool, I don't expect them to sit in a low block.
No, definitely not. And I'm just having a look here at their recent results. To be fair, they've got what three wins in their last 5, 3 wins, 2 draws. They're unbeaten in their last 5. So, fair play to them. And the last time they lost a game was, to be fair, they've had a lot of draws. A lot of draws. They drew to Leeds, Sunderland. The last time they lost was Man City. Man City away was the last game they've lost. No, they lost against Forest as well. Sorry, my bad. They lost against Forest on the 23rd of November. That's the last time they lost. So they've actually been in relatively.
Just 4 days after that, they got pumped by PSV 4-1 in the Champions League.
True. I'm talking Premier League results here. Yeah. So excuse my ignorance. Yeah, you're right. They got pumped by PSV in the Champions League, but in the Premier League they've been in relatively good form compared to what they had done previously. So it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. We need to bring the intensity. I'm sure Arteta will definitely say something in his pre-match about the crowd and getting up for the game and being the 12th player and all of that he usually does before a big game. I think it's similar to what happens, when we play against Spurs, but all form seems to go out the window when we play against these giants. So I expect very much of the same. I think that if we're not at 100% capacity, we will get pumped because they're a very, very good side who have very, very good players and they are able to turn it on when it really matters. So we need to be at our best. And it's as simple as that, really. We need to be at our best. I expect the 11 to be not dissimilar to what we've seen of previous weeks, take Bournemouth aside. So I expect, obviously, Saka and Trossard to be back on the wings for us. I would love Calafiori to be back for this game, but I don't think he will be. So, I think the back four will probably be unchanged from what we saw against Bournemouth. But massive game. You need to win the game in the center of the park. So really important for us that Declan Rice is fit for this one and that Zubimendi and Odegaard are firing on all cylinders. And I don't expect them to sit back. I think there'll be times of the game where they're probably sitting lower than they'd like. There's probably going to be times of the game where we're sitting lower than we want to be. But you have to go through those periods. And at the end of the day, you have to be ruthless in both boxes. And usually these games are decided by the team that is more ruthless in each box. So they've got players who can do that. Obviously, Ekatike is a very, very talented player. Gakpo is top class on his day as well. I know Frimpong has slowly played himself into decent form. I think probably the absence of Salah has helped him do that. But for us, them not having Salah is probably quite a good thing because I know he's got quite a good goal scoring record against us in the last few years. As he does against everyone, although his form this year not been as prolific as previous. Really, really tough game. I think they can be exposed at the back, though. I think that they, in terms of their transfer policy, although they signed massive names and spent nearly £500 million, I think that the same gaps that they had last season are starting to appear this season as well. When you get rid of such a transformative fullback in Trent and you bring in someone who is a different profile like Frimpong, And the same goes with obviously Robertson getting slightly older, and you bring in Kirkes. It's almost a different team that you're looking at just because their fullbacks are so important to the way that they've played in previous years. So, um, if you look at that as well as I guess the lack of improvement in form of Kanate, you can really see why they're struggling. I thought they really needed to get Mark Gahey in the door on deadline day, and they didn't manage to do it. And that being said, I thought they probably should have got a defensive midfielder through the door in the summer, and they didn't. They weren't able to do that. Having said that, the players they have brought in are still really, really talented players. Obviously, Florian Wirtz is slowly getting himself into form. I know he's picked up another goal against Fulham, I think it was. Yeah, which is quite frustrating because I actually bought him into my fantasy team when he scored his first goal, and then I took him out straight away, and he's now scored again. So what can you do? But yeah, they're very beatable. We've got to be at our best, and I expect another win.
Yeah, they're definitely going through sort of a transition year. It seems like bit of hungover from their Premier League win. I think Canade hasn't been up to the standards that Liverpool fans would have liked to. There was all that drama in the summer about Mark Guehi coming in. Canade seems like he's sort of put his foot off the pedal a bit already. One step, well, he's already booked his ticket to Madrid. It seems like if that goes through, and I would love for him to go to Real Madrid because then that takes off any Real Madrid pressure on Saliba. I know they're very interested in that, so I'm so happy for Canade to just go there. But yeah, I think their defense is very gettable. I think Van Dijk, quality player, but I think he gets a bit let down by the players around him. And I mean, you just have to look at their lineup today. They've Kirkes, Bradley, obviously Kanate, as I mentioned, not playing too well. And Frimpong. These are all new players that they haven't really got used to yet. I think they will probably come good. I mean, they're all young, talented players. I don't see why not. Playing for Liverpool, they'll come through. But this is the time to get at Liverpool. I think we go full strong starting 11 because obviously our game after that is against Portsmouth. No disrespect to Portsmouth, obviously I think they're 21st in the championship, so we can definitely rest a lot of players there. But yeah, we need to play this game like it's a cup final. He said before we need to play each game like it's a North London derby, but I actually disagree with that because they're not competitive anymore. Those games, we need to play each game like it's a cup final because Spurs are terrible. Like a bit of a diss on Spurs there, but. Yeah, every game needs to be a cup final. We need to get the job done. I think we can kind of skip our starting 11 because I'll quickly run through it. I think, tell me if you disagree with anything, but Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Hincapié, Rice, Submeni, Odegaard, Saka, Trossard, Gyökeres for me up front. Would love to see Havertz maybe get a few minutes. I don't know, maybe I think they might be targeting, he wasn't even on the bench against Bournemouth, so maybe they might be targeting that Portsmouth game as a return for him. Gabby Jesus, to be honest, I don't want to talk too much about the Bournemouth game again, but he was a bit poor against Bournemouth in my opinion. I don't think he was too good, but he's still coming back. But yeah, I'm expecting a win. I'm going to let you do your score prediction first. It feels like I always go first, so I'll let you go first.
I will absolutely go first. I think that we are going to beat them 3-0. I'm confident.
3-0, okay.
3-0, clean sheet. First clean sheet in a while. And a win for Arsenal. 3-0 to the Arsenal. What about you?
It's tricky because we are leaking a few goals recently. I would love a clean sheet, but I just feel like in a game like this, history gone by, it always seems to be a pretty scoring, like by a bit of a basketball match. So obviously I know Liverpool fans would definitely call that a basketball match with that Odegaard handball. I don't even think it touched his hand, to be honest. Easy nibble right there. But yeah, I think a 2-1 win. 2-1 win for us. Yeah, I'm confident. Another 3 points would take us over 50 points, which would just be so satisfying as well, just to hit that 50-point mark. I think we're on track for maybe 93, 94 points, which would probably be enough, I think. So yeah, hopefully you get the 3 points. I think that's all we have time for today. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. And have a great new year as well. It's obviously our second podcast of 2026. The first one came out on the 1st of January, but the first game of 2026. So happy new year to everyone. I hope it brings you all successes. And yeah, have a good day, Gooners.
Have a good day, Gooners.